My favorite go-to barista name is just Dan Mannheim. I just like the way that sounds. Occasionally, I will break out a Fangs Fogarty or a something else that just sort of comes to the top of my head. In fact, we have at our office a channel on Slack where we will just collect names you can give the barista. So if you ever need a name, I should have done a 10-second announcement. If you need a name to put on your coffee because you don't want to give the barista your real name, this is counting against my time? All right, enough with these jokes. Let's do my talk. So I want to talk today about how we might proceed towards a Hippocratic oath for technology. As a critical care specialist and an internist, and as well as a tech company co-founder, I feel like I might be in a good position to be able to lead this conversation tonight, both having taken the oath and running a company and knowing what that oath might do. Silicon Valley, you might not know this, has a small image problem right now. And so we think about all of the great things that technology does for us, but we're sort of all getting swept under the rug. And a lot of large companies are facing these kinds of headlines right now. You can see that the dark one in the middle, the former Facebook VP says social media is destroying society, and he's right. In fact, a lot of people are leaving these companies to do other interesting things, like Tristan Harris, who is a former Google ethicist who has left to found what he is calling the time well spent movement. And he's sort of joining other luminaries in the tech industry to figure out a better way for us to put technology into people's lives without ruining those lives. And so this is what he's doing. And in fact, he suggested this idea of a Hippocratic oath for design. But I think we can go further. This is the original, this is the OG Hippocratic oath. I like that it's pro-education and anti-corruption and pro-privacy, but there's a lot of old stuff that's in there too, and it's really old-fashioned. So we don't actually even use this version that swears by Apollo and decries against abortion and physician-assisted dying and says you should never have kidney stones out because you're most likely to die. This was written 2,300 years ago, and now we've got antibiotics and surgical technique and anesthetics. So I would like to introduce you to something that was written in the 1950s, done by the Dean of Johns Hopkins Medical School, whose name is Dr. Louis Lasagna. I swear this is true. Every doctor you know have ever met or seen has not taken the Hippocratic Oath. They have taken the new version, written in the 1950s. They have taken the Oath of Lasagna. If you only learn one thing today, your doctor took this oath. So here's a few quotes from the oath that I thought I would sort of go through and see how they reflect for technology. So this first one is about overtreatment and undertreatment. And so if we think about how that applies to technology, we sort of take out some of the medical stuff and put in the user stuff. And we know that we don't need to ruin people's message notification center with 1 million push notifications, sending them headlines that we know they're going to click on if they're not going to get anything out of the experience. This is another one that we understand. When we go to the doctor's office, you can tell the doctor really secret stuff. They're going to write it down, but no one's going to see that information. And I don't think there's probably a person here who hasn't expected the exact opposite from technology companies, right? If there isn't any, if you haven't been like pwned in the room because your passwords have been in some sort of data dump before, it's going to happen, and you're going to wonder why the people who built that database didn't take this oath. So if we say just users, I agree 100%, 110. Above all, I must not play at God. As an intensive care physician, I spend a lot of time with patients and their families around the times of life or death decisions. And this is something where you get to help people by taking the information that you think they need and letting them make their own decisions. This is about patient autonomy. We don't make the decisions for them. We help give them the information they need, and they make the decisions. So we just need to add one word to this. And I think everybody sort of we know that looking at a user's profile on your platform for any other reason than to help that user is unnecessary, creepy, and gross. And this is what we have to move past, this idea that we are the owners of these tech communities and we will do what we like with them. These communities we have built for our users. So let's give them to them, and we should hopefully be able to be the tool that we want to be. And that's what this is about. That as a physician, we learn in medical school, in residency, you hear this 1,000 times. You will hear the phrase, treat the patient, not the disease. And what that means is your job as a doctor isn't to focus in on every little abnormality and correct it, but to understand who that person is, what their ecosystem is like, and to help point them towards directions of healthful choices. And so if we want to be doing good work, we want to be on the side of our users. We want to be thinking about them because they have missions, they have goals, they have objectives, and they have hired my app or your platform to do a job. And if you lead them astray by getting to do things that put your needs ahead of theirs, they're going to notice and they're going to stop using your platform. Give your users the ability to achieve their mission, and I promise you will achieve your mission. The values that we basically have put, that we as physicians experience through the Hippocratic Oath, the Oath of Lasagna, are these: autonomy, and I think that these values are probably ones that we would do well to establish and hold tight in the world of technology. Thinking about our users' autonomy, whether we're keeping them in a walled garden or whether we're giving them the opportunity to actually achieve what they want. And then the next two are just doing good things, avoiding bad things, and of course the last thing being justice. And I just need to take 10 seconds to say that it's not just social justice, but human rights are becoming far more important in the world of technology than they ever have been talked about before. They're not more important, they're just more talked about. And I'm thankful for that. And I'm hopeful that in a room full of people who are like-minded, we can come together and sort of push these values forward so our users can have a better experience and we can build a better community. Thanks for your time. I have 3.5 minutes of questions. Okay. Yes.
Hi. I just want to ask, how do you think that you're going to effectively implement this in real time? Because I don't think big companies, when they start out, do these jobs and think, oh, I'm going to be evil, I'm going to do terrible things. Google's thing was to do no evil. I'm sure Facebook, when they're making their platform, they're not thinking of, I'm going to create something clickbait. But it's the market pressures and the effective economy that pushes them to it because it works. So when money is backing it and the market pressures are backing it, how do you fight that effectively?
How do I fight against money? It's like the worst question ever, right? That's incredibly difficult. It's really hard. You can barely do it when you have money. When all you have is money, all you have is an idea and motivation and a wish to make the world better and a microphone. All I can do is ask for your help and ask for everybody who wants to participate in making their company more socially sustainable. That these are the ideas that you need to possess when you start your company, right? These need to be the goals that you have in mind when you hire people at your company. They can't just be things you tack on afterwards. You can't decide not to be evil once you've got a whole empire full of, I don't know, ray guns or something. I was in trouble like 3 words into that. But seriously, it's hard, and I don't know the answer. This is a thought experiment that we started doing at Figure1. And in order to try and raise the level of conversation, all I've got is a microphone and the hope that you guys will one day want to talk about this more than we do today.
One more question.
Thank you very much. Oh, there is one. No, sorry, take that back. I do want that applause though. So
sorry, I'm curious what you think of the value or lack thereof
of legislated accountability and even liability around technology, the same way there is around doctors, engineers, accountants today.
Yeah. A lot of those professions, I don't know about accountants, but I know lawyers and doctors are self-regulated. And that goes okay sometimes, but we know that there's lots of, there's still problems, even though those professions are self-regulated. Like doctors do terrible things to their patients, and it's published in the pages of the college dialogue every month. And so how do we be better than that? I don't know. We try. We keep trying, and we keep getting better. And we try to come to events like this, and you build a community, and you learn from each other, and we try to reinforce that being good is a really important thing. Like, you can build an app that can keep somebody on your platform for 20 hours straight, and you can have the best retention and a whole bunch of really horrible human beings because of that you made. So, you know,
Even when they're self-regulated, there's still legislation given
Yeah.
that self-regulation.
I know, I didn't really touch that part of your question on purpose. It's a timing problem. It's a rhythm problem. I know. It's going to have to come from us because government doesn't move fast enough for us to be able to catch up with it. By the time this whole Uber, Facebook, Amazon, whatever this problem is now is blown away, we're going to be in the thick of something else, and 5 years later, we'll pass the legislation that was required 10 years earlier. Right? We just have to stay on top of this. That's why technology is never really that well regulated by government. It's just a rhythm thing. But that's a logistical thing. I don't know how to answer that philosophically.
I think this is a great debate to continue at the after party.
After party!
Thank you.